What's up, my people? Welcome to another exciting episode of Novelty. Today I am here at Minds in Action. They offer so many modules to children, learners and students who actually want to take up a STEM as a career, as a course, maybe, for entertainment purposes. They have robotics, electronics, 3D printing, you name it, everything is available here. So right now I'm about to walk in Minds in Action and I'm about to give you the information that you need to make the right future for your STEM career. My name is Aina Raiza Koya and this is your favorite science show. We are back with the bang, Novelty. Today I am so excited to be chatting with a brilliant mind. His name is Naudika. He is the founder of Minds in Action. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Let's talk about Minds in Action. Give us a little bit of background. Where does it start? When was it established? Why was it established? And so forth and so on.
Okay, so Minds in Action is a Namibian company that specializes in STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So in most cases, it's like our learners in school, they learn science and mathematics. And in most cases, they don't know why they are learning math or science if you ask them. But then at Minds in Action, they get an opportunity to actually apply the concepts that they are learning in math and in science to technology, to engineering and arts, to make stuff, to make working models. So the idea is to create a generation of Namibian makers who have the ability to identify problems in their communities and offer innovative solutions. But this can only be possible if we are able to nurture their skills from a young age. So once they get used to this kind of skills, they then cement their knowledge and then they start to innovate. And that's the kind of environment that we want to create for the Namibian learners, whereby they can think about what they are consuming in their communities, especially when it comes to technology. Instead of importing it from foreign countries, as we have been doing in the past years, we can start creating our own technologies that are best suited for our environment. Yes.
All right, so what type of modules do you offer here at Minds in Action? And if you can also just thoroughly walk us through each and every one of them, what does it mean, why it, and so forth.
Okay, so the modules that we teach the learners, we start off with our beginner module, which is called Robotics. So in the robotics module, the learners actually learn about motors, they learn about sensors, and then they learn about coding. So they will be able to write a computer program that controls motors and also gets input from sensors, and then be able to make decisions based on those on that data that is coming from the sensors. So that's the first module. It doesn't require any prior experience at all because it's a very beginner level. So this module is offered to primary and secondary school learners. So a learner who is in grade 4, for example, can come to Minds in Action without prior exposure. And then once they get to be exposed to this module, they start to learn the basics of robotics and then coding, and then they are ready to move on to the next module. So they spend 8 weeks doing the first module, and then they move on to the second module, which is called Coding with Kitten. So Coding with Kitten is a graphics-based programming language, which learners, they can be able to use coding blocks to create a game, for example. And then they can also be able to create animations. So you can be able to use code to control various characters in your little story that you want to tell. So learners enjoy this a lot because they have an opportunity to imagine something and then write a computer program that will actually be able to show them what they are imagining. So their imagination comes to life.
Yeah.
So the third module then is electronics. So if you look around in many technologies that we use, as our cell phones, our TVs, our laptops, even cars, they contain electronics. So now the children learn about electronics in detail, whereby they can be able to actually understand the flow of electricity. They can be able to use a computer program to control various components of electronics, and then they can be able to create something.
Yeah.
Yes. So in this case, the electronic course is very dear to us because we, the learners, apply what they have learned in the first module, what they have learned in the second module, and then apply it to electronics, and the creativity just becomes more. In electronics, we use a microcontroller called Arduino, and the programming language C. Yes. So the fourth module that we have is 3D printing.
Yeah.
So 3D printing is not more a new technology. It's a very good technology because what happens is like the learners get a chance to design something in a computer, which we call computer aided design, CAD. So when you have like a model, a 3D model in the computer that you have designed using a software like SolidWorks or Tinkercad, then the learners are learning about design, and then but they are also learning about they are not designing something that they have seen.
Yeah.
They are designing something that they have thought about, and then once they have designed it, then they can 3D print it out. So this is special for learners because it's like converting your thought, an idea, to something real that you are able to touch, something tangible.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have many more other modules. Like my colleagues will be able to explain them to you as well when you go for by interviewing them.
All right.
Yes.
And so then, you spoke a lot about learners.
Yeah.
How do learners then register for these modules? Do you have a marketing strategy where you say that, hey, this is Minds in Action, bring your students here after school? Or when do your learners actually attend these classes, and then what is the registration process and how much are the classes?
Okay, so our marketing is mostly on the social media. We have a website as well, mindsinaction.com.na, and then we also have flyers that we pass out to schools.
Yeah.
Yes. So everyone is welcome to join the Minds in Action after school program. The attendance is here in Seidrof, Toigo number 6, and then so what happens is like the learner attends only once in a week.
Okay.
So after school from 2 to 4:30. That is like the attendance of the learner, and it takes 8 weeks to complete one module before you move on to the next module.
Okay.
Yes. So the course cost 1,600 for the first module. For this, I think for the first 3 modules, it costs 1,600, and that is for the 8 weeks duration. Okay. Yes.
All right, and then when you say learners, what age range are we looking at?
Okay, so we are looking from grade 3 upwards.
Okay.
There is no limit, there is only minimum. At least the learner should be at least grade 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there is no maximum. That's why we even find ourselves having some specialized courses for university students.
Oh, nice.
So there are some university students, for example, who are learning engineering for an engineering degree.
Yeah.
You learn a lot of theory, but then sometimes you want the hands-on experience.
Yeah.
So those students are also welcome at Minds in Action to get the hands-on experience.
Yeah. Let's talk about the hands-on approach that you offer here at Minds in Action. Why that approach? Why couldn't you do theory? Why couldn't you do other approaches, why particularly the hands-on approach? Why is it important that students and learners know exactly what to do?
Yes. Okay, so the theory is very important because it's the one that introduces the learners to the concepts.
Yeah.
We have that component where we introduce the concepts. But then for you to cement those concepts, for a learner to actually be able to be creative, you need to be able to understand. And to understand, you need to do.
Yes.
So the learning by doing is our core approach. We learn by doing. They learn. For example, a learner will be able to build their own robot from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So that experience, just building that one model, can allow them to understand how the motors work to control this mechanism. How will I get the data from a sensor? So once they understand that by building one model, then they can be able to add on to their creativity and build on whatever that they want.
Yeah.
So we feel like a hands-on experience. It's more than learning because it coordinates your hands with your mind, and then you express whatever you are thinking on your hands, and you are able to see the final product.
Yeah.
So we value that kind of exposure, and that's why we take that approach.
All right. Why is it important for children to take up space in STEM? Why must somebody go out there and really develop an interest and go and start being curious about STEM? Why should they pursue it as a choice of career?
Okay, so first of all, STEM, science, technology. Okay, we can say STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So if you look at the combination of these subjects, they are in our everyday life.
Yeah.
So they touch every career. We might not have even mentioned finance there, but there is a component of finance. So STEM or STEAM actually touches all the careers, and then in the 21st century, in advancing in technology, in this world, technology is always advancing.
Yeah.
So you don't want an accountant who has no basic skills in technology.
Yeah.
So in this case, like this kind of exposure to STEAM education is necessary for all the learners, not necessarily those ones who are going to follow the engineering path, not those ones who are going to follow the science path. All these students need STEAM education. Okay, the other thing is that in the 21st century, people are not limited to a certain career, one career. So the careers are becoming multi-dimensional. You can find an accountant who is also in IT, an accountant who can actually write a computer program that can be able to make their work easier. Yeah, you can find a lawyer who works for an engineering firm. They need to understand that. Yeah. So, or you can find a business woman who is developing a certain technology. Maybe they're in front of the business, but at some level they need to understand how their technology works. That is the way that they can make a successful business.
All right. I want to ask, are you also teaching here? And if you are, what are some of the methods that you the methods I think that you incorporate in your classes to make sure that your learners and your students understand what you're trying to teach them?
Okay, so we take what we call a mission. We give them a mission. Okay. So we will lay a mat, for example, that simulates a certain environment. You can be able to see that as well when you go and make it to in the center, in the STEM center. So what happens is like you create a mission. For example, we can say you have a mahango farm. And then you have a harvest of your maize there, you have your beans there, and whatever other items that might be harvested in the farm. Then we say, now you are going to work in groups of 4 to create a robotic model that should be able to pick up those harvest and then drive it to storage. So now these children are learning are learning through a problem. They have been given a problem, and now they are trying to solve that problem.
Yeah.
It's called problem-based learning. So now the concentration is not necessarily on the tool that they are using to solve the problem. So they're incorporating their problem and then use this computer and this robotic model as a tool to solve the problem. Yes, and then there could be other problems that we can give them. We can give them a scenario in effect.
Yeah.
We can say like maybe some items of different colors have been mixed up. Now you have to build a color sorting machine that should be able to sort all these items, maybe by color. All the red items must be here, the blue ones on one side, and so on. Yeah. So in this case, they can be able to imagine a production setting.
Yeah. Okay. And so then, how long are the classes? By how long I mean, like, is it a month long, and then you have a graduation ceremony at the end? What actually happens here at Minds in Action for someone to fully complete the module or the course that they were doing here?
Okay, so what happens is like it takes 8 weeks to complete the module, right?
Okay.
And then the attendance is from 2 to 4:30. That is now in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so once the learner complete 8 weeks or 8 workshops, then they receive a certificate, a completion certificate for that module. Then what that does is that it qualifies them to move on to the next module.
Oh, okay. So it's one module per 8 weeks.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and then they get a completion certificate. This certificate can be used at several occasions. So, for example, a learner can be able to use it to apply for further studies. To say, they can be able to say, I was a part of this STEM program and I've been exposed to these skills and so on. So, schools that are pro kind of self-initiation can be able to take on such a student because they know that this student can actually go an extra mile to expose themselves to the career that they want to take up.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to add about Minds in Action, perhaps, that I did not ask you?
Okay, so Minds in Action so far, since our establishment in 2018, we have been able to expose learners from all the regions, most of the regions in Namibia, that we carry out through boot camps.
Yeah.
So we don't only get learners here at the Minds in Action STEM Center in Windhoek, but we also go an extra mile to other regions in the villages and expose learners who are there and also want exposure to STEM education at an early age.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have done projects in the Kunene region, for example, in a school called Rumana Primary School, and we worked with some communities in Gibeon. We worked with some communities in Leopold, Marienthal, or Hobabes, and also in Onipa.
Oh wow.
Also Shikuku. So the team, we are a team of 20.
Yeah.
Most of them are graduates, and they are very passionate about transferring these skills that they have learned to the younger generation and through a hands-on approach.
Okay.
Yes. So our mission is just as simple as we want to make STEM education accessible to all Namibian learners, and that is what we are working towards. Towards our vision, which is to see a generation of Namibian makers who can be able to identify problems in their communities and offer innovative solutions, like I told you earlier.
All right.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Ndawdika, for the work that you are doing for our children, our communities. Thank you very much, for allowing me this opportunity to have this conversation with you and to disseminate information about STEM to a larger Namibian audience.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We will be right back with more Novelty. Stay with us.
What we have here is a home automation prototype. So the advantage of this system is that you can control your home appliances remotely. That is, you do not necessarily have to be in the home for you to be able to control your appliances. So for instance, you can be outside the country and you can turn your lights on and off, and people will generally think that there's activity in the house and not even suspect a thing. And also you can even control your stove or your iron. For instance, you have situations where you're at work and you wonder, did I turn on my stove? Did I turn off my iron? But if you have the application that we use, is called Google Home, you can see the status of all your appliances in real time. So it tells you whether something is on or off. Okay, for instance, here I will demonstrate the light and also the motor that we have here. So this motor can be your gate motor to open and close the gate for someone, and this is just a general light. So as you can see, the status of all the appliances are off, and then the moment I turn one of them on, the status changes in real time. So as long as you have internet connectivity anywhere where you are in the world, and also the system also has to be connected to the internet, you can simply control your devices. And so the whole system was built in-house, was developed and assembled and built in-house. As you can see, what we have here is a printed circuit board. So all this was designed and then everything was soldered together. And as you can see here, the casing for our circuitry was also 3D printed here at Minds in Action. And so this is the first version of the home automation prototype that was developed. Ideally, the system is more prone to be put in new houses, like new establishments, houses that are being built from scratch. But that is not really practical because you have more houses that are existing already. And so we currently have the second version that my colleague will explain, which is called a smart switch. So what the smart switch will do is that instead of incorporating this system into your distribution box, that smart switch will simply replace the traditional plugs that you have with the smart switch, a traditional plug with your smart switch. So you find that in the end, you end up with a custom solution that we can create for you here at Minds in Action. Thank you.
Okay, what we have here is a smart switch. It was transformed from the home automation. This is the first version of our automating houses. So we converted to a smart switch because we notified that most of the houses, they need plugs instead of DB replacements. So instead of replacing your DB, we are replacing it with a smart switch, whereby you are removing your old switch and then you replace it with a new switch. So this switch is working with three versions. It has a touch, whereby you just touch it and then it switch on. Then you can also use your phone, as my colleague demonstrated, that if you switch off, it will go off with your phone. You can also use a laptop. Instead you are using a smartphone, you can use your laptop just to switch on and to switch off. So this is available now and it's ready for installations in houses, existing houses now.
Okay, this is a coding and electronics cluster. This is where they learn programming skills and electronic components. So under coding, they have a module called Kitten, where we use the platform called Kitten Editor. So here they program, and what they program, they can see here on the stage. So for example, here we have a student's project where they are doing a quiz. So if we start the program, it will start by just a character introducing itself, and then it's asking me to enter the name. Because they learn variables here, they are also able to store the data that I'm putting in there. And then if I take the quiz that the student just created, so it's able to show me that I selected the correct answer, and the marks is also increasing there. So it's another variable that they created. So in this module, they learn how to make their own games and create stories, music, and a lot of things that can be animated. So now another module that is under electronics is called Introduction to Electronics. And here we use Arduino. We have so many different components in the Arduino kits. So they learn sensors, actuators, like different motors. And then when you combine the different components that you learned, you're able to come up with systems. For example, here we have an alarm system. It's able to detect and then send an alert. Okay, so you can use different ways of sending alerts. So you can have an LCD to display your things, or you can have, like for example, here we have a buzzer. So it makes noise. That's one way of alerting the user that no, there's somebody entering the room.